Hi, everyone. I have read your reflective exercises and provided feedback in the rubric for you to review. This is one of my favorite assignments to read. I love learning about what is going on in each of your specialties. Each time I read these papers, especially the innovation papers about personal practice, there are so many cool things going on that because of the position I'm in my own clinical background, I'm not aware of. So it's pretty exciting for me to read all the great things that are happening out in current practice. Lots of you talked about the electronic medical record or barcode scanning, early warning systems, the use of the actual computer-based technologies, which was great. I was really excited to see some of you talk about your evidence-based practices, things that were really based on innovative ideas that came from collaborative efforts and research. There was one of your classmates talked about being on a chemotherapy floor and creating a protocol for clean chairs in between each of those patient rotations. There were several of you from the OB world that talked about not bathing the baby as soon as the baby was born, which used to be historical practice. I'm kind of a neat freak, so I'm a little bothered by slimy babies. I'd probably want mine wrapped in a blanket. But it was cool to hear the logic and the evidence behind not immediately bathing the baby and allowing skin-to-skin contact, and the innovative thinking and the evidence-based practice that drove those changes. Bundled protocols, things that were done collectively to bring together common practices to facilitate patient outcomes. One of you talked about an electronic ICU connection, telehealth really, for environments that lacked hourly intensivists that actually stayed in the ICU. And that's such a fantastic opportunity for those patients. So lots and lots of good ideas. One of the keys when we not just look at being a until I've been teaching several classes, one of the differences in being a nurse leader versus a Christian nurse leader is that our call to innovate and our call to always be looking for the best way to do things for our patients is driven by our relationship with Christ and the understanding that we're expected to use our talents to the best of our ability. Your classmate Mary did a really nice job connecting that accountability from our practice world into our personal faith. Mary wrote that as nurse leaders, we continue to be cognizant of the risks and the research needed to develop better patient outcomes. As Christian nurse leaders, the purpose of giving ourselves the Lord's work is to be competent and equipped for His good works. As a Christian nurse leader, I will continue to guide brothers and sister nurses through education and learn through the development of the innovation for the good works from the Lord as we walk in His way and shine through Him. What a beautiful way to remind us that we really are honoring His talents when we lead effectively, and that we're growing our team by encouraging them to use innovation and evidence-based practice. And in the end, that honors Him and takes care of His people. I think that's such a great way to put that. From an APA standpoint, I want to remind you that you should not be turning any papers that do not have level headings. This paper was pretty straightforward. It was only a couple of pages. For most of you, it was 2 to 3 pages. A single level 1 heading at the beginning of your paper was adequate. It was more developed if you added the level 2s, but as you create longer and longer papers, you're going to need to practice using the level headings effectively. So I want you to be getting your mind around that. Next week, in your weekly welcome message, I've already given you the heads up about this week's assignment. The key to the success in this assignment is really thinking through a complicated issue that created conflict in your practice area. If you think about the event at work that created the most stress for you, the thing that you carried in your heart for an extended period of time, maybe lost a little sleep over. I'm a little overly sensitive, so I cry about things. Think about those things, those moments that you really were struggling at work, and drill down into what was the conflict that caused that heartache, that caused that stress, that caused you to reflect on your professional practice. Use that as an exemplar for this next reflection paper. You're going to be working on your practicum logs. Make sure that you're following those the guidelines that were provided to you. Follow the rubric closely and make sure that you're covering all those components. Know that I'm here. If you have questions or concerns, I'm happy to answer them. I hope you guys are having a really good week. Things are very quiet here, which is nice. The puppies are at overnight daycare because I've got work early in the morning. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with myself tonight after I'm done saying goodnight to you all. Maybe I'll find a book and a good cup of tea. Whatever you're doing tonight and the rest of the week, I hope it fills your heart with happiness and is a blessing to you. Take care.